but only until strength rises up in him. And right now, the pity is gone. Black people in America are going to have to start competing.
That's facts. We have to compete.
Hi, my question is on DEI, particularly in the airline industries. I'm sure you've been following after the whole Reagan batch of FFA agents retired. Obama decided to diversify the FFA. We've seen a lot of problems from that, including 2 planes almost colliding and basically having to roller coaster away from each other, as well as United Airlines had 80% of its new flight class being women or people of color compared to 96% typically. Anyway, we've seen a lot of issues in the airline industries lately because of this, and it's gotten to the point where people go onto a plane and if they see a woman pilot, they see a black pilot, they see basically any pilot that is not a white male, they're starting to worry about the competency of the pilot. How do we as a society overcome that? Because obviously we want to be respectful of people's races. We don't want to assume that someone is only in that position because of their color, but also we need to worry about our safety. And this is another issue that DEI is causing, is it's causing people to look at people who are in positions of power and of authority and have, you know, negative thoughts about that. How do we overcome that and try to not see people who are in good positions as incompetent because of their race due to...
And when I say this, when I record all my videos and I say that this can be an effect of strong diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, people attack me and they say, well, what are you saying this? What are you saying this? And this is why I'm saying it, man. And it's not because minorities are incompetent. I hope nobody's get that from what I say. I've noticed it happening in society where people are starting to assume when they see minorities in power or in positions of power or positions that, you know, high-ranking positions, that they don't deserve it. And that's not the case. But if you have DEI programs where, let's say, they have to hire 50% black people or 30% black people, they have to, how could someone else react to that? How could they look at that happening and say, well, every single minority deserves their position? Like, I'm not even, forget race. If it was anything else, we would have a problem with it. But because of all the virtue signaling in society, we pretend that it's okay. But it was never okay. It's never been okay. But let's continue. This professor is going to teach this young woman his thoughts about this issue. Lied to, tricked, deceived. This is how I felt for the past 20 years. And the reason I felt this way is because you put your faith and trust into the people that you love and care about, such as friends or even some family, to guide you in the right direction. But then once you get older, you realize, some of what you're saying is just not true. It's a lie, and it feels like you're trying to indoctrinate me to think the way that you think. If you're anything like me, that is unacceptable, and you need Ground News. Ground News is a website and app that makes reading the news easier and more enjoyable. It compiles news from over 50,000 sources around the world and helps you stay informed on topics that you care about. Every story comes with a simple visual breakdown on the political bias and ownership behind the news outlets reporting, so you can gain a deeper understanding of important issues. It's perfect for sharing with that friend or family member who only gets their news from mainstream media and can open their eyes to different perspectives and help break them out of their echo chamber. Let's prove it. I'll prove it right now. Published 21 hours ago, Trump slams trial as rigged, disgraceful, after he is found guilty on all counts. Within this story, you can see that the right has the title as Trump slams verdict. This is done by Biden and his people. The reason why this is a good title is because all it states is that Trump slams a verdict, which he did, and that he quoted, "This is done by Biden and his people," which Trump literally did quote that. Let's look at how the left has this title. Trump delivers rambling response to guilty verdict, falsely blasting rigged trial. The reason why this title sucks is because within the title, they are showing their bias already. Falsely blasting, whether or not you as the writer believe he is falsely blasting, the fact that you have the audacity to put this in a title, to show this to thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, shows me who you support. And every single article by you, I automatically know you'll be biased. And this is why Ground News is important, because without Ground News, if you read from this source, you'll believe everything they say. We're tired of being brainwashed. Ban brainwashing. We're not doing that no more. I found the article I shared when browsing on one of my favorite features, the top news section. Top News is where you can find trending stories and is great for staying up to date on breaking news and major events. I can't give you a better source. Not YouTube, not social media. This is 1000% your source. I'm being 100% real here. I have nothing to lose. If you're interested, click on my link, ground.news/LFR Jojo, where you can get one of the biggest sales of the year, a 40% discount on Ground News. But let's get back to our video.
We have to get the black community to sign off on it. Say that, just like the NFL and the NBA, we don't need your handouts, we don't need your crumbs. We can make it on our own. And that comes from a conversation that we have to start having in the black community, because right now we're still on this tip. We want reparations, we're still oppressed, we're still all of that. And what I do is I confront them with this, and I confront them with the truth. I say, how can you be oppressed if you are a child of God and heir of Jesus Christ? They can't answer that question. I convince them that after 50 years of affirmative action, you're still at the bottom, so what good is it doing you? It's not a hard sell, but too few people are trying to sell it, especially black people to other black people. So it's a sale that we're gonna have to make, but it's also us looking at companies that allow it and not buy from them, politicians that support it and not vote for them. I think that right now, as you know, there's a pushback on it because people are getting so angry about DEI. A lot of Fortune 500 companies are starting to just say, we're done with it, we're tired of it, we're not going to use it, because they see it is condescending and it does not work. Again, I can look a black brother in the eye and tell him, so you're still begging for the crumbs to fall from the white man's table, huh? And he has to respond to me. And he knows.
And the thing is, he's not lying, bro. He's not lying. How could on one hand, and if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. If you want to debate me, let me know in the comments. How could on one hand, you say you are God's child, or you are from God, you believe in God, and then on the other hand say you're oppressed? And I was taking it a step further. If you do not believe in God, because some people don't, how could on one hand you say you earned everything that you got in your life, everything that you've accomplished is because of you, but then on the other hand say the world owes you something, the world is giving you like a boost up by implementing these programs? And what I mean by that is, you can't in your right mind say that you earned blood, sweat, and tears every single thing in your life, but then also agree that you need a program that will guarantee you, or not guarantee you necessarily, but increase your chances of success. It's just, it don't make sense.
That he has to respond to me like a man, but he can't, because that's what he's doing. And I tell him, you're still a beggar. I mean, ante up, be a man. I respect the thief more than I respect the beggar. Stand up, take what you want, instead of begging for it. Because right now, as Frederick Douglass said after he whooped his slave master and left, he said that a man without power, that human dignity is constructed where a man, they cannot respect a helpless man. He can be pitied for a while, but only until strength rises up in him. And right now, the pity is gone. Black people in America are going to have to start competing. And
that's facts. We have to compete. I remember I was 17 years old, and I remember this like it was yesterday. I was 17, and my mom told me that I couldn't. She practically told me she didn't have a way to pay for me to go to college. Like, she didn't have a way to pay for me because I have older siblings and they had loans, and then my mom had loans, and her credit was just to the point where, well, it's better now, but it's like she couldn't take out any more student loans. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford to go to school. So I just started studying all summer. I was studying every day, reading SAT books, because I had an SAT class for maybe a week. But I was just reading SAT books. I was just trying to work because I'm like, I need scholarships. Because if I don't take none, I cannot go. I cannot take out no loans. Like, literally, the Parent Plus loans, she couldn't take them out. Even the loans. So I'm like, I need a scholarship. And I did that for a year. And I ended up studying so much that I got my SAT up 350 points. Like my original score over a 3-month period, I got it up to like 350 points higher than that. And even if I did that, I got into every school I applied for engineering, but I still didn't have no scholarships. And I remember my birthday. It was my 18th-year-old birthday. I was turning 18 in February. My dad took me to a basketball game. It was a great day. But then I got a letter in the mail that day from my number one school. My number one school. And they told me that they can only give me $5,000. A one-time scholarship of $5,000. And that broke my heart because I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. But the reason I'm telling this story is a few months after that, my school that I graduated from just recently with my bachelor's of science in optical engineering and electrical engineering, it's like they gave me a full ride. And they reached out to me and said, we want you to come here. We'll give you a full ride. And over the last 4 years, I've been grinding every day, staying up all night to finish projects, working my tail off. I took 19 to 20 credits the last 3 semesters of college just so I can graduate on time. I was working my tail off, and I ended up getting internships and all that stuff. But I just want to say this because people will look at me. And because of programs like this, say, oh, you only got what you got because of DEI or because of affirmative action. When I grinded for years straight, I was still posting on YouTube. Y'all can see me posting. I took 6-month breaks just to focus on school. Years straight. Just to get everything I deserve. Years, bro. I didn't go to parties like that. I was doing work. For years, work. So when I hear programs like this, it just hits a chord with me because this is my life. I'm black. People will look at people like me and say, oh, he may not deserve it when I've been putting in work for years, bro. So yes, it's frustrating, but let's get back.
When they compete, they do well. What did our Bible say? If you do well, will you not be accepted? Go out and compete. And this whole ideology of when Martin Luther King Jr. said, I have a dream that one day I will not be judged by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. Here's the thing. You will be judged by the content of your character. It is unavoidable. To think that the color of your skin is going to be the thing that's going to judge you in America, that is a lie. It will be your character. Even if somebody calls you the N-word, how you respond to that is going to determine how that relationship goes. Not being judged by the color of my skin. What's wrong with the color of my skin? Judge me by it. Underestimate me at your peril. Judge me by it. Vince Ellis is black. And what? You gonna think I'm gonna be walking around America looking at some white racist and, excuse me, boss, don't judge me by the color of my skin. Never me. It was condescending, it was disrespectful. It set us back 100 years. Made us believe that something was wrong with the color of our skin. We had to apologize for it or dream for a day that we won't be judged by it. And then when you deal with the Christian concept from Jesus Christ, who says specifically, you are not to be concerned about how man views you. You're supposed to be concerned about how I view you and how you view yourself. The biggest trick they ever played on us, well, not that they saw that we were inferior, is that they made us believe that we were inferior. And who taught us that? It was our own people that taught us that. Who made you hate yourself from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet? That's what Malcolm X asked. It was the people on the left marching, begging, getting slapped around. Don't care how you feel about me. If you don't like me, that's your problem. You put your hands on me, you have another one. So again, we have to start reteaching the whole concept of Americanism and masculine Christianity to say, look, I earn what I get. If I find out that you've given it to me, I don't want it. I'm a man, I earn it.
That's facts, bro. That's facts. And even if you're a young woman, you earn it. And that's the attitude that was instilled in me from my family, from my life. Because I didn't have the... People look at me on YouTube and they think, oh, of course I had an amazing family. I do have an amazing family. But I work for everything I have. I don't care what nobody say. My subscribers, every subscriber I have, I worked for. And like, oh, you have family who does YouTube. And when I started YouTube, I had 30 subscribers. I had to grind for years straight. When I was in school, I had to work for them scholarships. I ended up receiving a full ride to college. I had to work. I was in labs. I was staying in labs overnight to finish projects. Me. Who did that for me? Who did the classes for me? Who was taking 20 credits a semester for me? Who? While I was working on YouTube while I was doing that. While I work right now. So, I'm not saying this to brag. And I'm still in school, by the way. I'm getting a master's degree in engineering. But I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this because no one has given me anything. And I never expected anything from anyone. Because we're all equal. You're equal to me. I don't care if you're white, black. I don't care what race you are. I don't care what gender you are. We're all equal. But one thing is for certain. I earned everything I have. And I get tired, sick and tired of these programs telling young black students that they don't have the same advantages or they don't have the same intellect as other races of students. Not only does it hurt black students, it hurts other races of students because those students who are working day in and day out, your kids who are working day in and day out, you who is working day in and day out for the life you want, getting it taken away because of programs that demand a 30% or 20% race requirement. That's unacceptable to me. Because if that was happening to me, I would have a fit. I'm not gonna lie, I would be pissed. But let's continue.
Instead, they started the welfare state where and something else you guys need to know about abortion. I'm sorry, I wanted to put that in. The first recipient of the Margaret Sanger Award, y'all know who that was? Anybody know? Martin Luther King Jr., 1966. Yeah. For helping us set up abortion clinics.
And what's crazy about all this, what's crazy about everything is that although affirmative action exists, you can argue for its existence, whatever. You can argue for diversity, equity, and inclusion. You can argue for everything. But the fact of the matter is, after 50 years of having this, we are still dead last in family economic attributions. We are still dead last in income. We are still dead last in college degrees. We are still dead last in marriage rates. We are dead last. We have not improved as a race at all. And I'm not saying this to bash the black community at all. I'm not saying black people are not trying as hard. What I'm saying is these programs are literally statistically not helping right now. Are we going to wait another 50 years to see if they help? And then after that, are we going to wait another 50 years? Then another 50 years. We don't want to change now? Why do we have a 4th grade reading rate on average? Why? Why do we on average read at a 4th grade level? Why? Why don't we value academia? Why don't we value pursuing a trade? Why don't we value marriage? And the reason I'm bringing up all these issues that are specific to my race is because these programs, the persons who implement these programs, ignore these issues completely. They don't say, well, rather than saying a company has to hire 20 or 30% of black people or minorities, as they like to call it, why don't we just say we're going to go to the schools in these neighborhoods and implement programs, teaching programs that will raise their 4th grade reading level to a 7th grade reading level. Then let's get to a 10th grade reading level. Then let's get to a 12th grade, then a college level. Like, those are programs we actually need. Why don't we say, maybe we're going to try, maybe this community should try to instill values of marriage or values, if you don't want to get married, you don't want to get married. But values of not having so many children out of wedlock. So many. Like, there are certain things that just piss me off. And in my life, it really affects me because I work for everything I have. I've grinded for years for everything I have, bro. Of course, you have family and friends who help you along the way, but I was putting in work for years. And when people say, oh, you don't deserve it because you're black, that triggers me so much. That triggers me so much. Because I never had these programs implemented in my life, but other people have, and you could make an argument that they may not deserve their position. But me, I earn mine, bro. Every day, day in and day out. So I don't think it's right, but if you like videos like this, let me know. And I'm sorry if I got too passionate, but it really annoys me. But it's LFR Jojo, and I'll see you all next time.